Hello and welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Aaron Porras, and before we begin, we want to thank the thousands of you who have already subscribed to our new streaming platform, ILTV+. Your support is helping us to bring you the best and most unique content from Israel every day. Now, coming up in today's newscast, a controversial draft bill advanced through the Knesset. President Herzog, meanwhile, ending his landmark trip to the United Arab Emirates. And finally, Whoopi Goldberg apologizing for her comments on the Holocaust. Our top news tonight, controversial IDF draft legislation passing in its first reading by a razor-thin margin Monday night. And this just 2 weeks after the bill failed to pass in its first reading, much to the embarrassment of the coalition. Now, the new bill, which was approved 51-48, still needs to pass through 2 more readings before it becomes law. But if adopted, it would set gradually increasing annual targets for the number of ultra-Orthodox or Haredi conscripts. And should the targets not be met, the bill allows for the reduction of state funding for yeshivas, where students receive a monthly stipend. That said, it would also temporarily lower the exemption age for members of the Haredi community to 21 years old in order to enable Haredim to enter the workforce at an earlier age. As of now, to qualify for draft exemption, Haredis must be active members of a yeshiva or Jewish religious seminary. But this forces thousands to remain in yeshiva as opposed to in gainful employment until they're 24 years old, and even if they have no interest in a future of rabbinic life. Employment and the economy be damned, though, as ultra-Orthodox legislators calling the bill amongst the most shameful ever presented into the Knesset, and the majority of the Haredi population opposed to mandatory civil or military service in fear that secular forces will draw away their members. Alternate Prime Minister Yair Lapid, however, insisting that there's no such thing as rights without obligations, and that, quote, we all have a responsibility for the fate of the country. And now, speaking of the Army and the economy, active duty members of the IDF given some cause for celebration this week as soldiers' salaries are dramatically increasing.
כל חייל שיפתח את תלוש השכר שלו יראה קפיצה משמעותית במשכורת, במיוחד הלוחמים שלנו. המשכורת ללוחמים עולה מכ-1,600 שקלים ל-2,400 שקלים, זה זינוק מאוד מאוד גבוה. חיילים עורפיים יראו עלייה מ-800 שקלים כיום ל-1,200 שקלים. זה המעט שבמעט שאפשר לעשות בשביל מי שעושים כל כך הרבה בשבילנו.
And additionally, during soldiers' third and final years of service, combat troops will receive stipends of 3,050 shekels per month, while combat support troops will receive 1,800 shekels, and administrative positions will earn 1,235 shekels. And as for the lead up to the move, the decision to increase soldiers' so-called subsistence costs agreed upon last November. Defense and Finance Ministry officials vowing to raise pay by some 50% in response to public outcry and dwindling motivation to serve in the Army across all demographics, especially in combat units. Many active duty soldiers even taking to social media to complain about their poor living conditions, including inedible food, lack of transportation to base, and long lines for on-base medical appointments.
אלה שכן משרתים צריכים לקבל מאיתנו כחברה את כל העדיפות והכרת התודה שיש. בלעדיכם, בלי כל אחת ואחד שנסעו הבוקר באוטובוס לעוד שבוע בבסיס, לא היינו פה. זאת האמת.
Now, in other news, while soldiers are receiving their highly deserved raises, the cost of living sharply rising alongside. The Public Utilities Authority announcing a 5.7% rise in electricity tariffs this month, and that's on top of gas and food prices, among others, rising as well. Here with more is Professor of Economics at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, Joseph Zaira. Professor, thank you so much for joining us. Now, what is behind all of these price hikes? The cost of coal was used as one excuse, but Israel's reliance on coal has been trending downwards for years.
Thank you very much for having me. And actually, I think that whenever we see inflation, we should follow what Milton Friedman used to teach us. that inflation is a monetary policy. And the bottom line, the root cause for the inflation we see nowadays is the fact that the quantity of money increased in the country from 2015 until now by a lot, it almost doubled.
To watch full episodes of ILTV's Israel Daily and tons of other content from Israel, visit our website at iltv.tv or download the ILTV Plus app.